Files. Thank you for joining me once again. Hasn't it been fun in the last 48 hours or so? I posted one of my Who's Wrong on the Interwebs style videos a goodly couple of weeks ago, at least I think it was now. And that video did as well as many of my videos do, based on the size and penetration of my channel such that it is. Then suddenly, after, I think it was actually 16 days, someone has obviously brought this video that I made about Greg to his attention, and he's made this little response video here and posted it this morning, my time, to which I'm going to respond to his response, sort of thing. It's, it's good to have an ongoing discussion, isn't it? Quite happy to have such a discussion face-to-face to Greg if he has the courage of his conviction to do that, but I doubt that very much. First of all, before I get into responding to your ridiculous response video here, Gregory, I'd like to thank you very much, son, for the 25,000 extra views on my video attributable directly to you posting your video about my video on your channel earlier today. Thanks very much for those views. I'd like to also thank the thousands and thousands of your 12-year-old boy followers who think you're the man for some reason and who wanted to come across to my channel just to let me know all about it. Very good for the algorithm. Thank you very, very much for that. Appreciate it a great deal. Unfortunately, makes no difference to any of the objective scientific facts at hand. And we'll deal with some of those as we go through this video, shall we? What fun. So let's put Greg right where he's wrong. And spoiler, boys and girls, as usual with Gregory, it's fucking everywhere. The take-home here, the overall, before we even get rolling on a take-home thing that people need to understand about this video, if they don't already by watching it for themselves, is that what Greg is doing here is several quite well-known techniques in order to try and save face when he's been shown to be the fuck muppet that he really is, the ignoramus that he really is. He's using misdirect. So what he's doing is he's taking segments of things that I said in my video about him, completely out of their context, actually, misrepresenting the message and making it look like I'm saying insane things, mad things, crazy things, to bolster his own credibility, which is in the toilet, frankly, Gregory, completely in the toilet where it should be. And as such, being basically disingenuous and dishonest in the extreme. When I critiqued your video the first time around, I gave you the benefit of actually critiquing your entire video from start to finish without cutting out segments of it to suit myself, so that people could see what it was you actually did say. And I shall do the same again with your response video here as well. I won't be cutting it into bits. I'll be playing through your entire response video and responding to your responses to my response to your original video. All right, and so that's the first thing, just complete disingenuous misrepresentation of what was said by me and what the message was, where I'm coming from, what I'm saying and why I'm saying it. And number two, displaying yet more stunning ignorance of actual science and an arrogance beyond what is frankly believable. Actually, it's stunning. Anyway, let's deal with today's offerings. But once again, thank you very, very much for the vast amount of love and attention that my channel has got over the last 12 hours or so, courtesy of your little rant here, Greg. Anyway, let's deal with it. Enough preamble. Let's go.
Just wait for it. You're in for a good one today. And please watch it again. You will not believe, and I'm literally meaning that, as in literally.
He's saying that to attempt to be irritating because I said in my video that literally is literally the most overused word in the English lexicon. It's been so literally overused that it literally has no literal meaning anymore. It's just like punctuation, and people ought to stop doing that. Words ought to be used where it's appropriate for those words to be used, not just because it's a noise to make a punctuation in your speech. Okay?
You're not going to believe the stuff that comes out of this guy's mouth.
Well, I wouldn't either if what you show in this video was actually a fair representation of the message I have given and the explanations of the science underpinning Greg, which you haven't done because you are basically a coward. You are basically a disingenuous piece of shit who is only after trying to protect and save face of his own credibility, which is quite rightly, son, in the fucking toilet, because you do not know what you're talking about. All right? Let's go, though.
Coach Greg, and in today's video, I get schooled by a professor. Turns out everything I've ever said in any video in my entire life is wrong.
I'm not sure if that's accurate or not, Greg, whether everything you've ever said is wrong or not. I'm sure you must have said something correct at some point about some topic. But in terms of energy balance, fat gain and fat loss, human physiology, human nutrition, and the best approaches to any of those things, no, son. What you're saying is not good or accurate or scientifically robust or correct. Sorry about that.
And I'm not making this up. He quite literally proves that I know nothing.
Yes, I do. So people that want to see how I do that could watch my entire video from start to finish to see how it is that I actually do that. Instead of coming across to my channel and making comments about what a moron I am or similar things, without actually having seen what it is I had to say other than these short snippets that Greg's put together here, which completely misrepresent the actual message. He's taken the best bits of me putting on my shtick and doing my usual thing as an entertainer as well as an educator here on the YouTubes. I do have a cult following. They do expect me to behave in a certain way because that's the way I've set my channel up. And that's my shtick, and so that's what Greg is showing here. And it's a well-known technique to misrepresent the actual credibility of the actual message being imparted by me in my videos, because not only am I playing the buffoon, I'm also, by subterfuge, getting across the correct education to people so that they understand what the actual factors at play really are here, and so they understand not to be sucked in and taken in by these charlatans, these criminal misanthropists, these crackpots like Greg Douchebag here and his little mate Lame Norton that we'll get to soon, because obviously who's backing this guy? Yes, it's Lame Norton. What a shock. Lame, the king of psycho, calories in, calories out. We'll deal with that when we get to it though.
Frankly, I watched this video. I haven't laughed this hard in years.
Well, I'm glad I could provide you with some entertainment and some amusement, Greg. That's part of what I do. What I've obviously failed to do is get through your thick fucking head with some actually correct scientific, valid information, because your ego is so out of whack that you're unable to hear where you've made mistakes, in fact, where you've made errors of interpretation of the science, etc. It's sad for you. It really is. I'm sorry for you and for your 12-year-old boys' supporters, all 50 billion of them who all want to call me a moron or something like that today. Good. Or a baffon. I'm a moron and a baffon. Yes, good. That teaches me. I haven't been chastised so many times by 12-year-old boys in one day since I was a 12-year-old boy. It was fun, though.
Was non-stop comedy to have me listen to what he's been saying. And so I'm going to show you the comments he's made.
No, you're not. You're going to show snippets of some of the things I said to suit yourself. That's quite a different thing, Greg. Isn't it?
Let you decide. Am I right?
Well, people that want to decide whether I'm right or not should watch my entire video from start to finish and listen to what I had to say without your preconceived butthurt. I wonder how many tubes of analgesic cream for sore little anal sphincters were prescribed for 12-year-old boys that support Greg Doucette in the last 24 hours. Must be I should be on the payroll of the big pharma companies that make these analgesic creams for anal sphincters. I really should. It's been incredible today.
Or is he right? Who knows more about nutrition?
Well, I don't know. One of us is a professor of health science with specialities in, among other things, human nutrition, Gregory, with a 25-year history in that field of endeavour and a list of publications longer than your arm, Greg. And one of us is you. I wonder which one of us knows more about nutrition. I believe you have an MS in kinesiology or something. Congratulations on that. But, does that put you in the same league or ballpark as myself as an academic in the area of human nutrition, among other topics that I am actually demonstrably expert in, Greg? Sorry, son, no, it doesn't. No.
And so just wait for it. You're in for a good one today. And please watch it again. You will not believe.
You've said that, Gregory.
And I'm literally meaning that.
Yeah, you've said literally as well. Literally quite a few times.
As in literally.
Yes, literally.
Not going to believe.
Yeah, you've said that too, Greg.
The stuff that comes out of this guy's mouth.
Yeah, it's been said as well. One has the most irritating, squeaky sounding voice that it's possible to imagine, frankly. Yeah, that was my opinion, and you don't have to share it, boys and girls, if you don't want to. If you enjoy Greg's dulcet tones, all power to you. If they don't split your eardrums and cause you to bleed from your oral cavities, good for you. I find it entirely irritating and unbearable, personally. That's just my opinion. I'm entitled to it. That's the great thing about free speech, or how free speech used to be. Anyway.
Yes, we all know I sound like the parrot from Aladdin.
Greg, you have no qualifications whatsoever that would give you any credibility to speak on human nutrition. You're away. Correct. He has no qualifications in human nutrition. None at all. He has an MS in kinesiology, which is not nutrition. Okay? It's a fact. Suck it up, buttercup. Weightlifter.
And so apparently I'm just a weightlifter. Pick things up.
No, I quite clearly, you could see it on the screen there, Greg. I gave you your dues. You have an MS in kinesiology. But that does not make you a nutritionist or a specialist in nutrition, and it certainly doesn't mean that you understand physics or the energetics, the biological energetics of the human body, because you fucking don't, son, clearly.
Put them down, have no qualifications whatsoever.
In nutrition is what I said, and you don't. It's a fact. Calories are heat, Greg. That is how they are defined. That is how they are measured. That is what they are. They are heat energy.
And so, yes.
There we go. Heat energy is what calories are. They are measured by testing the temperature of a bath of water and seeing how that temperature of that water surrounding a bomb calorimeter changes when you quickly combust a small sample of a given food substance by passing a large electrical current through it and basically vaporizing it, thus releasing a bunch of photons which go out and encounter the bath of water via the casings. Obviously, it's all, the energy is all transferred from one thing to another thing along that chain, such that eventually those photons interact with the physical atoms of the water and cause them to absorb some of those photons and thereby to gain in their kinetic energy, i.e. their heat. Calories are heat. They are measured as heat. The actual things that make up this so-called energy are photons. The energy is a construct. The actual measurable thing is the photon, is the heat. The heat is the thing that's being measured. Calories are heat. Okay? Heat is one form of the construct which we refer to as energy. Different forms of so-called energy can be transmuted one to another, which is basically what the first law of thermodynamics discusses. In other words, heat energy can become mechanical energy releases heat energy, absolutely, so long as there is a mechanism by which that can occur, a piece of kit by which that can occur. Okay? It gets a bit muddy if we spend too long on this. But basically, my statement that calories are heat is an inviolate unassailable statement of fact. That is what they are. They are not a robust, scientifically valid or accurate measurement of the actual effective energy derivable from the consumption of foods by the human body. That is the whole point of my dismissal of the calories in, calories out argument. It is precisely because you, Joe Public, are entirely unable to remotely accurately gauge either how many actual effective calories you have taken in, nor how many you have put out. Ergo, trying to use calories in, calories out as a means by which you can control your body composition will only likely work for you, or predictably work for you, or definitely work for you, I should say, if you vastly, grossly, hugely undereat, which you should not do. That is contraindicated. That is not helpful to your long-term health. Sure, you might lose some body fat doing that, but it's not sustainable or good for you. It's bad advice. It's very, very bad advice. For much, much better advice, you need to talk to someone who is actually qualified in the science underpinning these areas. And Greg Doucette is not that person. Sorry about that. He does not understand that area. And he has to misrepresent what I have said in my comedic gold videos in order to try and save face, because his little butt is also a little bit sore, having been reamed fully by my original video, which puts him squarely in his place as a charlatan giving dangerous, contraindicated, stupid advice to people. Okay? What's next?
1 kilocalorie is measured as the amount of heat required to raise.
There you go. So calories are heat. Thank you, Greg. Good.
1 liter of water, 1 degree Celsius. 1 calorie, 1 ml, 1 degree Celsius.
Did you say 1?
And so now that we're on the same page and we now know how food energy is calculated through heat expansion.
That's right. So that's the inappropriate thing that is done universally. Just because a thing is done universally doesn't mean it's robust, correct, and unassailable. It's not. The calorie is explicitly and by definition and in practice heat energy as measured by rapidly combusting food substances in a bomb calorimeter. That does not remotely adequately describe the actual effective energy derivable from those foods by the human biological system. That is my whole point.
Expenditure. Let's now move on with it. He'll never bring this up again throughout this 30-minute video. And I'm being sarcastic. He does it 22 times.
That's because you said 22 times caloric deficit is required to lose weight, which is false. Demonstrably false. Fact. Absolute, unassailable scientific fact, which will also return to the tenets underpinning my statement that I've just made about that being an unassailable fact as we go through your points. I don't know. Are you going to make any points here? No.
Well, because to lose weight, you need to be in a calorie deficit.
False. Completely false. Not true at all.
Oh, I can't wait to hear them. How can we lose weight other than a calorie deficit?
There are many ways that you can lose weight without being in a caloric deficit in your diet. Many ways. And I've outlined a couple of examples here, which is now going to show completely out of context. Here's several ways you can lose weight without being in a calorie deficit. Number one, you can surgically have parts of your body removed, Gregory. Yes. So a lot of Greg's 12-year-old supporters, thousands of them in fact, came to my channel today making the claim that I had given people advice that they should surgically remove parts of their body. No, I did no such thing. I did nothing remotely close to that. What I did was point out the fallacy, the flaw and the folly, the ludicrousness of Greg's assertions about calorie deficits, saying you need to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight, when you can lose weight by chopping your arms or legs off, or any other part of your body. All those things have mass, which, strictly speaking, therefore do contain calories if you burned those things in a bomb calorimeter or otherwise. Just burn them, because to release the heat, you have to burn them, and calories are heat and nothing else. Sure, but that's an aside. It's a clever retort to what I said, but it's also a complete aside and a complete misdirect. What I'm saying here is still absolutely fundamentally correct. You can lose weight by chopping off your arms or legs or any other part of your body. You could also lose weight by vastly grossly dehydrating yourself. Does that sound anything remotely like me saying that's what you should do? Is that my advice to you? To surgically remove your limbs or to dehydrate yourself? No. I never gave the advice that anybody should do that. Of course I didn't. Ridiculous. Absolutely fucking ridiculous that your ridiculous fucking 12-year-old prepubescent boy supporters would come and make that claim. Of course I didn't make that advice. Goodness me, ridiculous. What's next?
And so apparently I'm wrong, guys and girls circles. You can cut off your arm. That's a great way to lose weight.
I didn't say it was a great way to lose weight. I said it is a way that you can lose weight. And I said it to disprove your false statement that the only way to lose weight is to be in a caloric deficit, because it isn't. Fact. You can dehydrate yourself. That's possibly less extreme than cutting off your limbs. Nonetheless, you will lose weight without being in a caloric deficit, Greg. The whole point is to point to the fallacy of your statement. This is not advice.
And did he just threaten me?
I know which part of your body I would remove given the chance. No, that's not a threat. It's not a threat at all. It's a statement.
Please not let it be the downstairs. I really enjoy that part.
Really? Okay. Another way. Stop consuming fluids. And there you go. You can dehydrate yourself and you'll lose weight. That does not affect your caloric intake, does it? It's still weight. The point being, among other things, that your description of someone's body composition, which is what you're actually helping someone to modify when you're coaching them for gaining the body that they want, you should stop referring to weight, because weight's irrelevant. Generally, the most common problem that people have is an overplus of fat on their bodies. So if you're talking to a client about losing fat, that's what you should talk about. You should not refer to weight, because one's weight is usually, if you're not obese, your weight will be 65% upwards made of water. Okay? That was my point. But the fact that you have to vastly, grossly, hugely misrepresent what I said in order to try and save face, Greg, all that does is embarrass you, son. All that does is point once again to your desperation and your destitution, your complete lack of ability to cope with the universe as it really is, to try and undercut a senior academic of my standing, experience, and absolutely unassailable CV when it comes to this particular materials, by trying to paint me out as some kind of a buffoon, just because I do tend to behave as a bit of a buffoon on my channel in order to get clicks while I am educating people with correct, valid scientific information by subterfuge. It's kind of my thing. It works really well. And people with more than 3 brain cells get that. They understand that and they love it. They think it's great, Greg. Maybe you should tune in. You'll learn a lot.
And so I think it goes without saying, yeah, you can lose weight if you cut off your arms and legs.
Yes. But you said you can't do that. You said you have to be in a caloric deficit to do it, which was false, wasn't it, Greg? People will say I'm being pedantic, but here's the point. If you want to communicate with people about a complex issue such as body composition, you need to be careful about the words you use, the things you say, the concepts you refer to, and you need to be accurate. Because if you don't, you are going to give somebody really, really bad advice at some point. Like vastly, grossly undereat, because that's the only way we can be sure that your effective calorie intake is below your expenditure, and as such, we can then predict that you absolutely will lose weight. No, Greg, that is very, very poor advice, very, very poor communication. That is unacceptable. That is why you got ragged on. That is why you got cursed at by me. A, because it's my shtick, and B, because it's really important that people like you stop miseducating people with your dangerous contraindicated misinformation, son. Right, what's next?
And if you don't ever drink any water and you're dehydrated.
And I'm calling you son because I refer to all males who are significantly younger than myself as son, and some of them who are older than myself still get called son if their mental capacity and mental age and their apparent IQ is at a level that would indicate that. Okay? Just for clarity on that one. Plus, I'll call you whatever the fuck I like. It's free speech. Remember? Remember that thing?
Pretty sure everyone already knew that, and so you didn't need to actually say that.
Yeah, I did, because it's important. Really important to point to the flaws in what you are doing, Greg. The fact that you are practicing in an area of advising members of the public at large and charging them money to do it by one means or another, and you're actually practicing outside of your area of expertise and training. Because this is not your area of expertise and training. Your area of expertise and training is kinesiology. Go and do that.
I mean, yeah, you can get liposuction, you can suck out the fat, you can lose all your muscles and you lose weight, but when I...
Right. So you don't need to be in a caloric deficit to lose weight or fat. Okay, we're getting somewhere. So I'm right and you're wrong, is what you've just admitted there, Greg. What I said was correct, valid, robust, and indicated, and what you said about needing to be in a caloric deficit was definitely false. Good.
I talk about weight loss, I'm trying to help people to lose the weight that they want to lose, not their fingers, hands, and toes.
If you're right, we'll make it clear what you're talking about. The weight they want to lose is fat. So call it that. It's not a dirty word. It's fat. In a calorie deficit, that means your body core temperature has been reduced because calories are heat, Greg.
And so if you lose weight, it had to have been because your body's core temperature went down.
No. That's 180 degrees out of phase with what I actually said. I said, because calories are heat, and they are, and nothing else, because that is correct, if you are in a calorie deficit, genuinely, if you are defining it correctly, then you have a hypothermic situation precisely because calories are heat. You might be in an energetic deficit and you'll still have the same core body temperature. That's what human beings do. Ergo, the energetic component in the human system is not heat, and calories are heat. They are measured as heat. You yourself told us that definition and got it wrong. And now you've turned my point 180 degrees out of phase with what I correctly said to make it out like I said something that's incorrect, which I didn't. You disingenuous, lying little fuckrag. You pathetic little boy. What's next?
So when you wake up in the morning and you fast and you go for a 26-mile marathon
So
run.
now you're giving another example of the same fallacy, making out like I said something I did not say. Pathetic, Greg. Grow up. Take it on the chin. You've been outboxed by someone who is vastly superior to you in this field of knowledge. Why would you be shocked and upset and offended that someone of my age, stage, station, academic background and experience in human nutrition, among other things, would know more about this than you. Why would that get your nose so out of joint? Why would that make your little sphincter so sore, Gregory? Take it on the chin, be the bigger man, and suck it up.
Blazing heat and you sweat profusely, you haven't lost weight because you've burned off calories.
No, you haven't burned calories. Calories are photons of light. That's the only way we can detect them. They are heat-generating electromagnetic waves. You cannot burn those. They do not burn. They are the result of burning something or any other process that produces such photons of infrared radiation, Gregory. Idiot.
You've lost weight because you've just experienced hypothermia.
No. False. 180 degrees, out of phase with what I suggested and what I said. Pathetic.
But hypothermia is when you're cold. It's when your body...
Yes, hypothermia is when your body temperature drops. So, if you were truly in a caloric deficit, you would be experiencing hypothermia because calories are heat. Good. If you had an overplus of calories, which are heat, then you'd have hyperthermia. And you'd be suffering heat stroke if you get hot enough. Pretty straightforward to understand, really, isn't it? However, given the human body energy currency is not heat, my whole point is that calories are not an adequate, robust, accurate, or scientifically sensible way of getting any kind of gauge at all on the effective energy actually contained in a food substance. This is really easy to understand, even if you are an absolute abject moron, like clearly 90-something% of your mindless fucksplat supporters, Greg. Okay, what's next?
Body's core temperature goes down, like when you fall into a frozen river and you climb out and you're really cold and you're shivering.
Yes, that's hypothermia.
Keep yourself warm, which does in fact burn calories.
Shivering doesn't burn calories, Gregory. You can't burn calories. Shivering produces heat, which are calories, by means of the involuntary muscle contractions involved in said shivering. That occurs by the uncoupled respiration in mostly the brown adipose tissue, causing chemical heat to be evolved by an uncoupled oxidation of fat in those mitochondria in that brown adipose tissue, Greg. Good. What's next?
That's hypothermia. Hyperthermia is when you're
too hot. Yes. Can we move on? Can we make a point? Because you haven't made any yet, Greg, at all.
Hot. And so are you trying to tell me that you can't lose weight if your body's core temperature is above normal?
No. No, I never said anything remotely similar to that, ever. Because that's fucking ridiculous. Should we move on then?
Like when you run a marathon in extreme heat?
Yes. No, I'm not saying that. That's fucking ridiculous.
Not sure if that makes sense. I'd suggest
Of course it doesn't. It's fucking ridiculous, and I didn't say it.
Try to maintain your body's normal core body temperature.
Your body does that by itself, Greg. It's called homeostasis. That's why the human body is basically 37.8 degrees Celsius, plus or minus a very, very small amount at all times, unless you, of course, do experience either hypo or hyperthermia for some reason, some perturbation to your homeostatic process that causes your body to lose control of that thermostat momentarily. Or for some time, whatever. Okay? Can we move on? Can we make some kind of point? Because we're about a quarter of the way through your video here and you haven't actually established anything at all except, once again, that you are absolutely without the first clue here.
But hey, if you want to freeze yourself to shiver more and burn more calories, or if you...
No, you're not going to burn calories. You're going to produce calories by shivering. If you do sit in an ice bath, your body will expend energy to produce that heat. Yes. It's a valid technique. If you want to use that technique, I wouldn't. Personally, I find it highly, highly unpleasant to do so. Really unpleasant. Thermal challenges, not my thing. Cold, anyway. Warmth, don't mind so much. Heat, coldness, no good.
You always want to run with sweat bags on and snowsuits to sweat more? Well, that's up to you. Me, I prefer to stay cool. That's why you see me at the gym. I bring a fan. Notice that? You cannot break the laws of thermodynamics.
That's right, you can't. I bet if I got you on the phone right now and asked you to quote the laws of thermodynamics, you wouldn't be able to do it, son.
First law of thermodynamics, energy cannot be created nor destroyed.
False, Greg. See? I was right. That's not the first law of thermodynamics at all. No, it isn't. That's a colloquial way of describing the concept of what the first law might be getting at, maybe depending on how you interpret things. The first law of thermodynamics, Gregory, is mathematically espoused, mathematically formulated, mathematically formalized. It is a mathematical sum. You got it wrong. I was correct. You don't even know what the first law of thermodynamics even says. Proves my point 100%. There you go, right there.
And I don't want to go through all of them because that's...
How many are there, Greg? How many laws of thermodynamics are there? And would you get all of the other ones wrong too? Yep, you would, because you didn't get the first one right. Good.
One that pertains to calories in, calories out.
How? Explain how. First of all, you'll have to actually go back to school and learn what the first law of thermodynamics actually is, because you haven't got that in your head. You've got that wrong. And then you'd need to explain to me how it is that what the first law of thermodynamics actually does say pertains here in a free-living human being in an open thermodynamic system. Good luck.
As in, I can't sit here and suck in magic calories and gain weight.
Nobody's suggesting you can. In fact, I'm clearly suggesting that that is physically impossible, because I actually understand physics and science and energetics, Greg. And you're making out like I'm suggesting that you can suck in magic energy somehow, which I never did say. Again. So again, pathetic. Try again.
If I sit in a chair and an obese person sat in it before me, I can't absorb their calories.
Yes, we understand that, Gregory. Nobody said, well, I never said otherwise.
Into my body. You can't magically gain weight.
That's right, you can't. I never said otherwise. Calories, given that they are photons and nothing else, that's the only way we can detect them, that's the only way we can measure them, cannot possibly contribute to your weight. Why not, Gregory? Because photons don't have any mass. They don't weigh anything. They do not have a weight. So there goes that. Calories in will make you fat. Will it? No, because calories are photons, and photons don't weigh anything. The only way to put on mass is to take in more mass than you output. Not electromagnetic radiation waves. Okay? This is really easy. This is really straightforward. I would have thought, but clearly it's a bit too hard for your 12-year-old supporter base, Gregory, who seem, on average, to have an IQ of about the same value, frankly. Incredible stuff today on my channel. It really was fun. What's next?
And that is why to lose weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit.
No, because calories are photons of light and they don't weigh anything, so that's not going to work, is it, Gregory? You have to, if you're going to lose weight, you have to get more mass out of your body than you put into it. Mass. Because weight is detected as mass. The force exerted on your mass by gravity. And it's detected using a weighing scale. That's the kit we use to detect that. Mass. Not photons of light. Okay? Wow, this is really straightforward, isn't it? The laws of thermodynamics apply, son, to an isolated thermodynamic system. By very definition. It is an absolute, clear formalized and expounded assumption of the first law of thermodynamics. That's why I said that, because it's correct, Greg. Human beings are not an isolated thermodynamic system, you idiot.
Man, he's very harsh on the language.
Yeah, it's a shtick I have for clicks, Greg. It works really well. People love it. They think it's great. What I tend to do, just for fun, is I will take a word which is seemingly innocuous, like lunch, and I'll put it together with a word that's less innocuous, like cock, and thereby you would use a double banger like, well, you're a complete cock lunch. Or you're a fuck trumpet, or you're an ass monkey, or you're a cock blanket, or, any of those kind of things. I actually got the concept from the movie American Pie, following the fine example of Steve Stifler in that movie. For those that want to know where I got that from, as part of my shtick when I was putting together the way I was going to present the character actor that presents this scientific information in a way that makes people laugh and that makes them enjoy what they're seeing without realizing that they're surreptitiously being educated in the background by an actual scientist. It's great. All right, what's next?
Being a professor, man, when I was a school teacher, I couldn't say anything. I said poop in class, I'd get in trouble. Principal said, you can't say poop, these are kids.
Yeah, because, Greg, when I was a professor, I teach people who are all over 18 years of age. By definition, they're all graduate students and undergraduate students. Undergraduates and postgraduates is what they are. They're all people over 18. They're not kids. That's the point. Plus, in academic circles, the freedom of speech of an academic is guaranteed by law. It's a form of academic free speech, basically.
Tell their parents what you're saying. This guy's calling me a cookbook idiot probably 135 times in one single video.
You got off light, Gregory, frankly, with the amount of fucktardery that comes out of your stupid gobshite mouth. It's incredible how fucking stupid you are. You got off really fucking lightly.
I haven't been cursed this much at in a single video, I don't think, in all videos combined over the last month.
Well, that's sad for you. Are you irrelevant, Greg? Are you not getting enough attention from people who actually know what they're talking about, perhaps? Laws of thermodynamics apply, son, to an isolated thermodynamic system.
It only applies to...
Yeah, Lane Norton is the bloke you would go to here to try and rebut what I just said. Lane Norton doesn't even understand that mass is not conserved. Lane Norton, who also lacks completely the courage of his convictions to front me for a debate on this topic, because he knows what will happen if he attempts to debate me on any aspect of nutritional science. Don't make me drag out the footage once again of Lane Norton saying that mass is conserved. It fucking isn't. Okay? So there goes your coach, Greg, in terms of the credibility of your coach. We're done here. Lame Norton, L-A-M-E Norton is this man's name. Lame Norton. It's what he is. Okay? Not the first fucking clue of what he's talking about whatsoever. No courage either. A coward. Just like you, Greg, trying to misrepresent what I said in my video to try and save face because you've been spanked, basically. Grow up. Lame Norton won't do it.
An isolated system. Not true.
Yes, it is true, Greg. It's an absolutely formalized assumption of the first law of thermodynamics. It is true. The first law assumes an isolated thermodynamic system. Absolutely. So you're wrong. Just like you were wrong about saying mass is conserved, lame, which it isn't, son.
Energy balance already assumes that the system is not closed.
No, it fucking doesn't. Energy balance might, depending on how you're defining and looking at energy, the first law of thermodynamics does not assume that. It explicitly requires the exact opposite.
Because what do you think thermogenesis is?
It's the production of heat. It's encoded for in the very words themselves. Thermo, heat, genesis, the creation of. It's the creation of heat.
It is the wasting of energy as heat, which...
No, that's not true necessarily, because that heat might be encapsulated and used for another process. It's only wasting if that heat escapes to entropy. Buffoon.
is part of your BMR, part of your NEAT, and part of other parts of your physical activity.
That does not bear any relevance to the first law of thermodynamics, which LAME does not say that mass is conserved like you erroneously claimed that it does say, because it fucking doesn't. Why doesn't it say that? Because mass is not fucking conserved, moron. Okay, what's next?
Activity. So this idea that, oh, well, it's not accounting for these things. Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't still. Lame Norton. Wrong again. Twice. In short succession. No.
And so if you can't maintain this caloric deficit,
Heat deficit.
a heat deficit, like, does that really help the world understand how to lose weight?
No. It's not supposed to though, Greg. It helps the world understand that referring to heat energy, calories, as an appropriate metric or parallel to the actual effective energy contained in foodstuffs is a folly. That's my point. Idiot. Anyone with more than 3 brain cells or an IQ above the average age of your supporter fan base there, 12, Greg, gets that.
Oh, don't track calories, everyone. Stop looking at nutrition labels.
Correct. Don't track calories because there's no need to do so, even if they were accurate measures of the effective energy found in those food substances, which they're not. Why would you want to count those? All you need to do is eat a species-appropriate, species-specific diet to satiety. Don't transgress, and your body composition will normalize at your biologically determined optimal. Jobs are good un. Jobs are good un. Let me just rewind a little bit just to make sure I got what you said correct there. Go again, Greg.
Understand how to lose weight. Oh, don't track calories, everyone. Stop looking at nutrition labels.
That's right. Don't track them because you don't need to. Just eat a species-appropriate diet. And you don't need to read the labels and shouldn't read the labels, Greg, because they're allowed to be out by 20% legally, okay? They're not a good, accurate indication even of the number of calories, so-called, contained in the foodstuffs, let alone an actual objective measure of the effective energy that you will derive if you eat that food. Okay? Pretty straightforward.
Track heat.
No, I didn't say that. That's another example of you proposing I've said something that I said nothing the sort. No, that's fucking ridiculous.
He's got the solution. How much heat does it give off or not give off?
No, I didn't say anything remotely similar to that. I said calories are heat precisely to show why we should not use calories as our measurement of effective energy, because it fucking isn't.
So perhaps this guy, he's the epitome of health underneath all that baggy, loose clothes. Perhaps this guy's walking around with an ideal body composition.
Tell you what, I'm doing a lot better than most men my age. A lot better. I'm absolutely smack bang in the middle of the normative range for ideal BMI for men. My body fat percentage, as fairly loosely estimated, let's be honest, by a biometric impedance scale, says that that's pretty ideal as well. I even get the green thing saying it's ideal, so it must be. So yes, my generalized body composition as an indicator of my health status in that regard are all pretty good, Greg. Yes, they are.
I mean, I don't know. I can't tell.
That's right. You don't know, Greg. You don't know dick about fuck. Clearly, obviously. You think Lame Norton is a good source of information about science when Lame Norton doesn't know his first principles. Lame Norton thinks mass is conserved. He also thinks that the first law of thermodynamics says that mass is conserved, which it doesn't. And he also thinks that it's already accounted for in the first law of thermodynamics that we are open systems, which it isn't, because it doesn't even mention open systems. You fucking idiot. Okay? Hello. Wakey, wakey, smell the coffee.
If I had to ask me, I would guess he's above 15% body fat.
Well, you're wrong. Sorry, son. Wrong. I'm not.
Which to me would be perfectly healthy for a man.
I range between 12.5 and about 14 when I'm not trying to intervene in any way by doing some fasting or whatever else. I truck along normally, on average, at about what you see on the screen right here. I'm not wearing anything baggy right now. This is just a T-shirt. I'll give you my vital statistics if you like. I'm 5'6". In height, I am between 130 and 140 pounds across my entire range, pretty much ideal. I'm 50 years of age, 50, if you want to know that. That's what it is, for what that's worth. But my body has got nothing to do necessarily with what's ideal for human beings at large and what's likely to lead human beings at large to the best, most robust health status and the longest, most enjoyable lifespans. Because bodybuilding and abusing steroids won't be helpful in that regard, Greg. Will they? Those things. Have a look at the average lifespan of a professional bodybuilder and see how they're faring, sunshine. Also, I know for a fact you have, in the past, if you're not still, abused anabolic steroids and other agents of the like, Greg, and as such, you have absolutely no credibility in health circles. You should remain silent for all time from this point forward. You absolute fucking criminal hypocrite. And you're also a pathetic, cowardly, snivelling little turd, basically, for misrepresenting what I actually had to say in my video and sending your 12-year-old army of little boys after me like that's going to make any fucking difference to anything. Wow.
But I don't know.
That's right, you don't know, Greg. You don't know dick about fuck. We've covered that.
I don't know. Maybe this guy is the specimen of health.
I'm doing okay. Not only are my body composition measures pretty good, all my blood's pretty good, my blood pressure pretty good, stress levels up and down, but hey, that's life, isn't it? It's a hard life being a YouTube creator and influencer, especially when you've got to spend your entire afternoon dealing with the ridiculous, nonsensical, irrational ravings of a bunch of 12-year-old boys, for example.
Picture perfect. Who knows?
I, for one, lost about 15 pounds, Greg, during a time that I was consuming above 6,000 of your so-called caloric heat units per day. Right, so the point I'm making there is saying the way to lose weight is to be in a caloric deficit. That would suggest that if I'm in a caloric overplus or surplus, then I'm going to gain weight, which is exactly what the calories in, calories out argument demands. Then, if I consume vastly grossly too many calories for a period of time, let's say 2 weeks, which is what I did, then I would gain weight. Because that's what calories in, calories out demands. It demands heat units, calories, versus weight. And that's what you speak about. That's how you communicate. That's what you say. So, I didn't do it just to prove this point or for an experiment or anything. I did it for another reason. It was a thing called priming, which I was undertaking at the time for nutritional purposes, body recomposition purposes. So what I did was I consumed vastly, grossly too much food for 14 days, during which time I absolutely did lose 15 pounds of weight on the scale. Pretty straightforward. Statement of fact. It's all documented, actually, in a series of videos that were made at the time while I was doing it. Those videos are available, I think, on my other social media platform that I post videos on. I don't think they're still on YouTube. I recently had to remove all my videos from YouTube and start again because I had some trouble with the YouTube police. Whatever, fine. But that's where you'll find those videos if you want to go and have a look. It's all documented there. There's no question that it did occur. I did lose 15 pounds on the scale. Weight. While I was eating too much calories, somehow. How did that happen? Well, I was carrying a lot of water because I was inflamed. The diet that I undertook, which was vastly, grossly too much meat and fat for 2 weeks was vastly, hugely anti-inflammatory, and as such my body decided it no longer needed to hold on to all that inflammation in water, and I dumped off 12.5 pounds of water and also 2.5 pounds of fat, if you believe the biometric impedance scales, which are kind of meh. But that should not have happened. I should have gained a vast amount of body fat because I had too many heat units I was eating. Didn't happen. That was my point. That's yet another reason to dismiss calories in, calories out. Straightforward, really.
Is he from Mars?
No, I'm from Earth, Gregory. I don't know where the fuck you're from, but I'm from Earth.
Another planet, our so-called, as if he's some other species from...
No, I'm a human being, Greg.
Another universe?
No, human being from Earth.
And did he really lose 15 pounds while eating 6,000 plus calories?
Yes, I did.
Because if he did, imagine what the world would know if they only could discover him. He has...
Quite a few people have so far, Greg, and you've helped a great deal today and a great deal more people discovering me too. Unfortunately, most of those are 12-year-old boys with an IQ about the same level and some pretty serious emotional problems and some very sore anal sphincters, most of them, clearly. But nonetheless, that does help the algorithm, and that means YouTube will push my videos out to a wider audience who will see what it is I have to say and will understand which one of us is competent, credible, and scientifically based, and which one of us is you. Okay?
Has over 26,000 followers, all of which must be absolutely shredded out of their tree as
A lot of them are, Greg. Not all of them, mind. A lot of them are, though.
Eric would say.
But also, so what? Being shredded is not a sign of health at all.
Think of it. While eating over 6,000 calories a day, the guy's able to lose over 14 pounds in 14 days.
Yes, 15. That's more than 14. Good counting, Greg.
And to burn just 1 pound of fat.
No, not burning. And why are you talking about fat? We're talking about weight. Weight. I lost 15 pounds in weight, not fat. Only 2.5 pounds in 14 days in fat, which is still opposite to what should have occurred, given that I was consuming 6,000 so-called calories. Okay?
That's 3,500 calories a day. 15 pounds, 14 days, it's about a 3,500 calorie daily deficit.
Well, that would be accurate, buff head, if all of that weight was fat. It wasn't, and I never said it was. Ever. I said I lost 15 pounds on the scale because I fucking did. Most of it was water.
And so to lose 15 pounds in 14 days, if it was in fact body fat, the guy would have...
No, I didn't say it was, Greg. Ever. I explicitly, clearly said about 12.5 pounds of water and 2.5 pounds of fat was lost off my body during those 2 weeks, if you believe the biometric impedance scale measurement technique. That's what happened. What I definitely did not do was gain body fat over 2 weeks of vastly, grossly, hugely overeating. Every day for 14 days. Which is what should have happened if calories in, calories out was valid. Ergo, calories in, calories out is not valid. It is wrong. There's some other things going on that play into this equation that invalidate the thing as the answer or as a useful tool. I wonder what they could be. Maybe hormones, endocrine system, immune system, inflammation systems, all of those things play into your weight, don't they, Greg? Yep.
Have to have been burning nearly 10,000 calories a day. And so how could he do that?
Well, I didn't.
Well, perhaps he was doing 20 hours of cardio a day. I really don't
I didn't.
know what he did. He doesn't go through.
That's right. And yes, I do. If you actually looked at my fucking videos, Greg, you'd see it's all fucking documented in a series of videos. This is not a fucking secret. Okay, all you have to do is more than 5 seconds of actual fucking research into something to get the answers. Idiot.
It. But if he did lose 15 pounds and he didn't cut off a limb and he didn't get surgery and didn't stop drinking water for 2 weeks...
I think your cat needs feeding, Greg. Go and feed your fucking cat. Make sure you give it enough heat units, though. Pretty important.
And the only way he could have done that was from a severe calorie deficit and concerning it over.
False. Let's take the 2.5 pounds estimate of body fat that was oxidized and removed from my body during that 2 weeks while I was in a huge caloric overplus situation in terms of intake, Greg. That invalidates your argument. You are wrong. You lose. It's all documented. It's all there for you to go and check out if you want to do more than 5 seconds of actual fucking research. Done deal. We're finished with this. You are wrong. You're an idiot. You're a coward. You're a buffoon. You have no fucking idea what you're talking about. And you're giving dangerous, contraindicated and false advice to an unsuspecting public. Stop it.
6,000 calories a day. That means he burnt way more than 6,000 calories a day.
You're still wrong because you're still making assumptions, false assumptions, which I never made the claim of. You did. The problem here is you're a fucking idiot, Greg. Not I'm wrong about anything, because I'm fucking not.
Either through his BMR, NEAT, or exercise, as well as the thermic effect of food. And so that scientifically would be how he would do it if he actually did, of which I personally don't believe it.
6,000 to 6,500 so-called heat unit calories per day, every day, for 14 days, 15 pounds lighter at the end of it, Greg. Explain that to me.
And
there you go. Statement of fact. True, inviolate, absolutely unassailable statement of fact. That is what happened. That goes against calories in, calories out as a weight management tool, and indeed as a fat management tool as well, on the basis of how that weight was made up. We're done. You lose. Still.
So there you have it. He doubles down. Wrong. Don't need to be in a calorie deficit. 6,000 plus calories a day, lost 15 pounds in 2 weeks.
There you go. So you do not need to be in a caloric deficit to lose weight. Fact. Done. What's next?
And so what is your secret? Why don't you look?
There are no secrets. It's all in the videos if you want to go and have a look. If I wanted it to be secret, I wouldn't have made the videos. I don't want it to be secret. I want to educate people. It's not a secret.
Shredded. Why are you not wearing a tank top? Why hasn't he had his own cookbook?
Being shredded is not a sign of health. And why would writing a cookbook give you any credibility, you fucking idiot? Other than this is just an opportunity for you to wave your cookbook. You really are pathetic, aren't you, Gregory? Not the first fucking clue of anything. I wasn't aware that we've changed our entire way of doing things in the sciences and that we're now litigating science by means of writing cookbooks. My bad.
Book out. I mean, think of it.
By the way, you'll laugh at this, boys and girls. Most of Greg's 12-year-old prepubescent followers were saying, oh, you need to see this video that Greg's made, this one, the one that I'm critiquing right now. He destroyed you. I'm waiting for the destruction. Hasn't happened, has it, boys and girls? Halfway through, give or take, no sign of destruction of me at all. Just misdirection, misappropriation of the facts, false assumptions, false claims that I've said things that I have not said, and desperate, pathetic attempt to save face from an absolute buffoon.
You lose 15 pounds in 2 weeks. You can't do that with this book. I'd want his book if it actually worked. Or maybe he's written a diet book on how to lose weight and keep it off.
Why does writing a book give you any credibility at all? Books are not peer-reviewed science. I've produced a lot of peer-reviewed science. I've undertaken a number of major external multi-million-dollar consultancies with large, high-profile organisations. I've had more than 25 years as a senior lecturer in health science. I've been a peer reviewer. I've sat on the boards of many peer-reviewed journals. I would have thought those things gave me a great deal more credibility than writing a cookbook, Gregory. Oh, that's right. Those things do give me much more credit than writing a cookbook. Okay, what's next?
My life's work's in this book. Where's his? Professor knows more than all of us.
Well, more than you, Greg. And more than lame Norton. Like I know, that mass is not conserved. I also know what the laws of thermodynamics are and how they're formulated and what assumptions are made and indeed demanded by those formalizations and formulations of the laws of thermodynamics. I don't need to know more than all of you. Well, I do know more than you, Greg, and all of your 12-year-old prepubescent supporters, absolutely, clearly, with IQs commensurate, as I said earlier. Yes, I know more than all of those people, but that's not a surprise. You'd expect a well-experienced professor of health science to have such a standing. There's no surprise there. It's not a glory-seeking thing. It's just a sad fact of the universe. It's the way it is.
He's definitely smarter than Einstein. He's rediscovered...
No, not remotely. Not remotely. Einstein is one of the most stunning intellects known to the history of man that we're aware of. That man's intelligence was vastly above, well, I think just about anyone else that's lived. Tesla was close. Some people would argue Tesla was actually superior to Einstein. Fine, whatever, I don't want to get into that. That's just an objective, a subjective, that's what that is, a subjective opinion. Yours doesn't have to, you don't have to have the same opinion as I do on who the most intelligent. It's like saying who's the best guitar player in the world. Everyone's got a different idea on that. Anyway, let's move on.
Calories, they don't actually exist.
No. See, there you go again, Greg. I never said calories don't exist, you fucking lying little cunt. You absolute little fucking toe rag. Calories absolutely do exist. They are a measurable thing. What's being measured? Photons of infrared wavelength. Heat is what's being measured. That's what they are. They do exist.
All heat, and you can't lose weight unless you're hypothermic.
No, I didn't say that either, you lying cunt. You fucking pathetic little fuck stain. I did not say that. Ever.
Is there a chance that he's just wrong?
Well, I would be wrong if I'd said any of those things that you've just claimed I said. I fucking didn't. Pathetic, Greg. Desperate, pathetic, vacuous, and cowardly. Absolutely fucking pathetic.
No, it couldn't be that. It's got to be that I'm a moron.
That's what it is, yes. And a disingenuous lying moron. Because you know damn well I didn't say any of those things.
The faster you lose that fat, the more muscle you are going to lose with it.
Wrong again, Greg.
And so everyone, I've been wrong, and so now I changed my opinion. What's way better than losing the weight slowly over time with a small calorie deficit is...
No, you won't. It's not calorie deficit. It's effective energy deficit. That's a different thing, Greg. That's my whole fucking point.
To crash diet. All of you shouldn't eat anything. Starve yourself. Lose as much weight as you can in 2 weeks.
Now you're suggesting that I'm saying that people should crash diet? I'm not saying that. I never did say that. I am not saying that. Another fucking lie from this pathetic little cunt.
Like this guy, and you can stay shredded forever. Forget trying to maintain as much.
Again, with this fucking fascination, this absolute fixation on being shredded. Who wants to be shredded? Other than your 12-year-old prepubescent supporters who are desperately trying to find their place in the universe and find a woman that will even fucking look at them.
As much muscle as possible on a cut, you don't need to worry about it. You can just crash diet and keep all your muscle.
Nobody was suggesting, I wasn't suggesting that you should do that. You shouldn't. It's pathetic. And you are not an example of someone we should aspire to as someone who knows how to look after their health.
Take your body weight in pounds, multiply it by 10. That's how many calories you need each day. Make sure you're getting 2 grams of protein.
Oh dear, oh dear, no calories. That's heat, son, remember?
And so Brandon Carter talks about how many calories you should eat on a diet, and then he quickly interrupts him and says, no, it's heat. And so anyone talking about how many calories you're eating in a day, you're all wrong. Every single one of you, including dietitians like Abby Sharp and so on.
Yes, Abby, not so sharp. Yes, she is wrong. I have never heard Abby Sharp say anything that was correct, Greg. So your academic support team is Lame Norton, who doesn't know first principles, or what the laws of thermodynamics are, or what they say, and Abby not so sharp. Wow. Oh, this just gets better and better. Carry on, son. Keep digging.
All of you are wrong. You're eating heat.
That's right. Well, no, you're not eating heat. That's my whole point. You cannot eat heat. Calories are heat. What you are eating are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen molecules, composed molecules. Molecules composed of those things, largely, in terms of the energetic components of your food. That's what's in those things, mostly. That's what you're eating. You're not eating heat. Those things have mass. They are physical things. That mass remains in your body until it leaves your body by one of several routes out. Those are the things that affect your weight. And in so doing, along the way, because of metabolic process, they affect the composition of that weight. Idiot.
So the next time somebody says, hey, how many calories are you eating? You should correct them and say no. Ask them how much heat they're consuming.
No. Ask them how much energy they're consuming, and then ask them how it is that they could possibly have gauged that. Because I'll tell you what the reason we use calories largely is, Greg. It's because the actual effective measurement of the actual effective energy found in foods is near impossible to achieve. Calories is a methodology which is vastly, grossly, hugely inaccurate, but the scientific fraternity at large have gone, fuck it, we don't have a better way of doing this without using vastly expensive, vastly technical equipment in a laboratory situation with 1,700 different PhD holders to even run this fucking kit. Fuck it. Calories will have to do. That's why we do calories, not because it's correct, robust, or accurate. You buffoon.
Don't you know any better? There are 4 calories in 1 gram of protein.
No, there are not. False.
4 times 400, 1,600 calories. There are absolutely not 4 kilocalories per gram of protein. Apparently, I failed that class, even though I got
Yes, apparently you did.
an A+ in nutrition.
Well, then I'd ask for your money back, son, because there are absolutely not 4 kilocalories per gram of protein. You absolute fuck monkey. I wrote that because it is scientifically unassailable. It's correct. That is a false claim that there is 4 kilocalories of attainable energy in a gram of protein, even if you accept that there is a convertibility between heat energy and chemical energy in the human body, which there fucking isn't one of. We cannot absorb heat and transmute that into chemical energy and use that for metabolic process. Fuck, this isn't difficult to understand. Well, I would have thought it wasn't. But then I have an IQ more than 12, unlike Greg and all his fucktarded fucking supporters. Keep commenting on my channel, though, folks. I'll keep trying to. Go ahead. It's only helping the algorithm. It's only helping to expand the reach of my video to an ever larger audience. Keep it up.
In university, I must have gotten that question wrong, even though I had
No, your lecturer had it wrong if they marked you correct in saying that there are 4 kilocalories of effective available energy per gram of protein, because there fucking aren't.
an A+, which is the highest grade you can get. And so let's look.
No, it isn't. There are grades above A+. Maybe in the American system. I don't know. I've never worked in the American academic system as a resident in that system. I have worked in that system as a member of an academic fraternity in an American institution, but I've done that at distance according to my own dictates. So, what's next?
Look how many calories are in 1 gram of protein. All right, so it says carbohydrates provide 4 calories per gram. Protein provides...
This doesn't prove anything. This is somebody's opinion on a website. And it's wrong. Carbohydrates provide 4 calories per gram. No, they don't. Not necessarily. Depends on the mixture of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats in any given food bolus. It also depends on the endocrine system balances, the hormonal system balances, any inflammation that might be going on in that person's body, energy expenditure. All sorts of things affect the actual effective provision of energy, whether you measure that in calories or otherwise, per gram. So that's false. That's an estimate. That's an average value. The same is true of the protein number and the fat numbers. The one that's actually the most inaccurate is the protein one. Vastly inaccurate because of the thermic effect and because of the fact that a lot of the protein that you consume is not oxidized for energy. It's incorporated into your body structures and as such, therefore, contains exactly or provides exactly no calories whatsoever. Doesn't it, Greg? You fuck splat. You moron, you imbecile, you little boy. You pathetic little cunt. What's next?
4 calories per gram, and fat provides 9 calories per gram.
Yeah, false.
Well, aside from having learned this previously from reading books as a teenager...
Yeah, books. Good. Good.
The first day of nutrition class, we quite literally learned...
Literally? Did you literally learn? You literally learned a fallacy? That doesn't make it any less of a fallacy, Greg. It's still a fallacy.
This exact thing. The first thing the professor wrote on the board, calories in various macronutrients. They wrote those 3, and it was 9, 4, and 4. Later discussed...
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. So now you think everything written on a board by a professor in a undergraduate first year class is accurate scientific information? Wow, are you that deluded? Are you that fucked in the head? Clearly you are.
That alcohol had 7. And so that was day 1 of nutrition. This is over 25 years ago. Haven't forgotten it. 4 calories in 1 gram of protein.
Wrong. I've explained why. Prove me wrong. You won't be able to because I am, Greg, not wrong. I am correct, as usual. That's what I do, by the way, son. I make sure I'm correct before I open my mouth, unlike yourself, you silly cunt.
But apparently in his universe, it doesn't go by calories. You can lose weight eating 6,000 plus calories a day.
And I did. 15 pounds of weight. About 2.5 of which was fat.
15 pounds in 2 weeks.
That's right. Yes, fact.
I mean, the guy has it made.
Dietitians are not people to ask about nutritional requirements, Greg. They don't know anything about it. They're indoctrinated puppets of a deeply misanthropic and evil organization.
And so perhaps in his universe, you don't ask lawyers about the law, doctors...
The universe, Greg, not my universe. What I stated there that you just played is a fact. A demonstrable fact.
About healthcare, it's just a different one.
No, I wouldn't ask a doctor about healthcare. No. A lawyer, I would ask about the law, sure.
I'm gonna go for walks for 4 hours a day to get ripped while starving my...
Walking will never get you ripped, ever.
Walking will never get you ripped ever, yet walking burns calories, and if it causes you to be...
No, it doesn't. You can't burn photons, Greg. Walking uses energy, but the use of energy will not get you ripped.
Calorie deficit, it most certainly can help you to lose weight if you...
Weight? Yes, as H2O and CO2, because of the oxidation of the mass of the food in your body, or the food substances. Yeah, weight, absolutely. Does that mean you'll get ripped because you've lost some weight? No.
You can continue this long enough, you most certainly will get ripped.
No, wrong. What if your muscle tone is flabby? You're not ripped. Doesn't matter how lean you get, that's not what ripped is. Ripped is lean and muscular. Walking will not achieve that. Again, I was correct, and again, suggesting that I was incorrect about something, you've fallen flat on your stupid fucking face again, Gregory. Wow. You really are fucking desperate, aren't you? Fail again.
Also, many studies have shown that walking 8 to 12,000 steps, it leads to a longer life. Doing 100...
No, you said leads to. That's a cause and effect statement. There are no studies that show that whatsoever in existence anywhere in the literature, Greg. Wrong again. False. Leads to. That's cause and effect. Show me an experiment that proves that. There aren't any. Buffhead.
150 minutes of moderately intense cardio a week on average will increase longevity.
No, that's a cause and effect statement. There are no experiments to underpin that claim. It is false. Get the fuck out of here, idiot. By the way, of my really 4 academic expertises, first and foremost was the physiology of rest and exercise in human beings. Exercise physiology, Greg. Okay? You studied kinesiology specifically. Human movement. Okay, so I'm going to pull the trump card here again. This is another area that I'm expert in that you are not. Okay? I have a long list of publications as a research author in this field, Greg, and you do not. Okay? Shut the fuck up, you ignorant cunt. What's next?
How long you live by 3.8 years.
No. Nonsense. Cause and effect statement, unsupported by the literature, by the science whatsoever. That is a misinterpretation of the science from you, Greg, because you're vastly, grossly, hugely destitute of competence.
But this guy, no, don't do cardio. I mean, why would you? You can live to an old age. You don't need to walk. You can eat over 6,000 calories a day, lose 15 pounds in 2 weeks.
Which I did. Do I suggest that you eat that many so-called heat units, calories, more than 2 weeks for a specific purpose? No. Did I ever? No. Again, you're just like extrapolating it out, suggesting that I'm saying you should do that all the time. I'm not. I never did. You lying cunt.
So why would you listen to any of us? This guy is the leading authority on everything.
No, I'm not the leading authority on anything. I am an authority, and I am vastly, hugely more credible than you, Gregory, whether you like it or not. The runs are on the board. My academic CV is unassailable, certainly by you, or lame-ass Norton, or Abby Not So Sharp. Put together, in fact, actually. Run rings around all of those, and you, any day of the week and twice on Sundays. You're out of your depth, you're out of your league, you're vastly, hugely disrespectful to your elders and betters here, frankly, son. Pull your fucking head in. Who do you think you are? Other than a popular, with prepubescent 12-year-old boys, YouTube promoter of unhealthy behaviours like hugely, vastly over-the-top hypertrophy training, cardio, and fucking steroids, Gregory. How dare you put yourself forward as knowing anything about health or how somebody should behave in order to promote their health? You will not make old bones, son. Watch this space.
On the internet.
Why would you want to
look at all those carbohydrates, those unnecessary, contraindicated, damaging carbohydrates?
I mean, yeah, look at all those carbohydrates in my cookbook. Why would you ever want to get to eat all that stuff and not become obese?
The only reason that you're not coming obese eating all of that stuff is because of the inappropriate exercise that you promote and undertake yourself, Gregory. At some point, you will pay the price for your errors in life, for your poor judgment. Frankly, one might make their own assessment and go, well, there's pretty much signs of it there already. Maybe. Who knows? That would be an assessment for a person to make in their own time, I guess, frankly.
And by the way, it's an anabolic cookbook, which means there's a lot of extra protein. It's not just carbs. It's not a carb book. It's a high protein book.
I didn't say it was a carb book. I said look at all of those inappropriate, unnecessary, contraindicated carbohydrates. And I said that because that's what they are.
1 gram per pound, like the research actually says.
Yeah, Greg, no, it doesn't say that actually at all.
And so apparently we got it all wrong. Jeff Nippard, Mike Israetel, Lane Norton, myself.
Yeah, all fucking idiots. Every single one of the people you've just named, morons, pseudoscientists, reductionists, crackpots. One of them, for example, thinks mass is conserved. Greg. Hello? Fuck.
Derek, all of us, everyone saying 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Research doesn't say you need more. Apparently, we're all wrong. Really.
All exercise should be at very, very high or very, very low intensity, and the vast majority of your exercise should be at high intensity, nowhere in the middle, no cardio per se.
And so if you're 300 pounds, you're just starting out, you want to lose weight, don't progressive overload. On day 1, start sprinting.
I didn't say that. I didn't say anything remotely similar to that. Ever. If you're over 300 pounds, you ought to be getting some expert advice on your exercise programming. And I suggest that you don't get it from Greg. Frankly. I, for one, would start that person out with low intensity, very low intensity exercise, and certainly very low impact, which is not the same thing as intensity. You can have very high intensity but very low impact work. So that person's body mass becomes less of an issue. I'd probably use aqua jogging. Okay?
Really?
Yes, really.
Amazing. I needed this advice years ago instead of that perpetual awkward calorie deficit for months.
Heat deficit.
Like, you're maintaining a calorie deficit. Like, you can't even let one slide. No, it's not a calorie deficit. It's a heat deficit. Like,
no, I didn't say it's a heat deficit. I said if it was a calorie deficit, then it would be a heat deficit because calories are heat. You fucking moron. You absolute ridiculous cunt. It is not a heat deficit precisely because it is not a calorie deficit. Fuck, this is not hard to understand.
Like, no, I care so much about saying that it's not calories in, calories out. It can't be calorie deficit. It's heat deficit. Oh, it's hypothermia, people.
Settle down, you ridiculous cunt. Pull your fucking head in. Stop misrepresenting what I'm saying to try and save face. Just accept that a vastly superior intellect to you and your little mate Lame Norton and Abby Not So Sharp and all those other ridiculous cunts that you just fucking named before, you've been spanked. Fucking suck it up. Grow up.
People, when you lose weight, you're hypothermic.
Sorry, couldn't help myself. Had to happen at some point. An hour and a half in. It had to be done. Right, let's move on.
Really?
Yes, really. Calories are not an appropriate measurement of the energy contained in foods because that is in a chemical form, you cocksplat.
That would be like me saying, hey, I don't identify as being a certain weight. I'm not 193 pounds. I'm 100. I'm perfect. I'm 100.
How is that analogy remotely appropriate? What does that have, what the purple fuck does that have to do with what I just said? I said calories are not an appropriate, scientifically robust or valid means to assess the effective energy contained in foods. That has nothing to do with how you might identify in terms of your weight. You ridiculous clown.
100 what? Perfection. I identify as perfection, 100 of it.
I identify as an attack helicopter, Greg. Does that make it so?
And so stop telling me how much I weigh. I'm perfect the way I am.
No, you're not. You're a fucking idiot.
Really? That would be the same thing. He just decided, I don't want to go by calories.
No, I didn't. I gave you the scientific reason that it is inappropriate to attempt to gauge energy in foods using the calorie. Because it is vastly, grossly, hugely inaccurate. It is not appropriate to do so. And it's unnecessary to even attempt to account for energy contained in your foods. If you eat a species-appropriate, species-specific diet, satiety signaling will take care of the volume you consume, and it will be appropriate, as will your body composition. Naturally, easily, and without exercising at all if you don't want to. I'm not suggesting you don't exercise. The benefits of an appropriate exercise program are vast. But if you need to exercise to control your body composition, then your diet is wrong, and the advice you are receiving about your diet is wrong, probably because you're listening to complete cunt stains like Greg Douchebag here. What's next?
I'm not doing that. I'm from another planet. I decided it's heat and...
You're pathetic, Greg. Absolutely fucking pathetic, desperate, childish, ridiculous in the extreme, anti-science, basically, completely. You're a buffoon. You're an ignoramus. You're an ignorant cunt. What's next?
hypothermia.
Thermodynamics. Christ on a bicycle.
Now that I'd like to see Jesus Christ teaching us about the importance of doing cardio.
I didn't say Jesus Christ. I said Christ. It's like saying Smith, isn't it? Or Jones. It does not pin you down to meaning any specific individual. Again, making out like I've said things I have not fucking said.
150 minutes a week. See, even Jesus is riding bikes. See, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jesus, Coach Greg. Come on, people, join me. Let's all start riding.
Are you having a seizure, Greg? Is that what the issue is? Should we call an ambulance? Do you need help? I'm concerned. Have you finally blown a fuse, son?
Bikes. One that makes sense. One that you can actually do. That's
But
sustainable.
no, it doesn't make sense if it comes from you, Gregory, and it contains a huge amount of carbohydrates. Like, look at your plate there.
I can't have that now. I can't have fruit. I can't have Greek yogurt.
You can do whatever you like, Greg, but you will pay the price for it at some point. Just like you can say whatever you want to, Greg. But if it's fucking stupid, I'm going to point it out, like I have done again today. If you absolutely insist on me making a fool of you at every fucking turn, Greg, I'll happily do so with ease. Because you are absolutely fucking low-hanging fruit. You are the stupidest motherfucker on the internet. You and all your fucking supporters. Mindless, the lot of you. Not one rational fucking comment from any of your supporters today on my channel. Not one.
I can't have lettuce. Too many carbs. I never knew carbs were bad.
Well, there you go. Now you do. Okay? You learned something today, Greg. I know you're being sarcastic.
So apparently
So you didn't learn a damn thing, probably.
carbs are bad now. Carbs are the
They
devil.
always have been, you fucking mindless cunt. They always have been in the diet. Unnecessary, contraindicated, and problematic. Yes.
Carbs are evil?
Not to mention the can of poison in front of your left hand there. Product placement there. Did they pay you at all to put that product there?
No, my caffeine-free Diet Pepsi didn't pay me to put that there. I just kind of like it.
Cha-ching! Chicks in the post, Greg, I'm sure. Diet, Jesus, that's a chemical shitstorm. Nearly as bad as pumping fucking anabolic agents into your body, Greg, isn't it? In terms of the likely health outcomes of that. Absolute, though, people, if you want to take health advice from this absolute fucking moron, go ahead. It's your fucking funeral. And that funeral is likely to be sooner than you'd like if you follow this boy's fucking ridiculous advice, I can tell you.
So imagine this guy made this video, and listen, I did not pay this guy. He's not an actor. He's not just putting on a show. This is actually him.
How do you know, Greg, what I am and am not doing, whether I am or am not an actor? How could you possibly know? We have never fucking met. You know nothing about me, you turd. Nothing at all, clearly. If you did, you'd pull your fucking head in quickly. Because this is a battle of wits that you are fucking unarmed for, sunshine. I will absolutely beat you bloody in the ring of fucking being, who's the cleverest here out of you and I, son, any day of the week and twice on Sundays. That's for another day.
Saying these things. And so, has he convinced you? Am I wrong about everything?
Yes, you are, Greg.
I mean, he's clearly schooled me. I'm sure my parents are probably no longer with us. They just can't bear the thought of having had an offspring of this magnitude. I mean...
Yeah, that's probably how I'd feel, Greg. To be honest, you might not have survived to the age you've got to, but that's for another day. It's just jokes, people. Calm down.
Clearly, Dahmer pales in comparison to the horrible person that I really am for
I'm sure you're a perfectly pleasant bloke. I'm sure you're a perfectly nice guy, Gregory. I'm sure. Unfortunately, however, what you also are is an ignorant, overly self-confident, arrogant cocksplat of the highest order who is speaking well outside his lane of expertise, knowledge, or competence, and you are saying stupid, dangerous, ridiculous crap to the public, which makes it fair game for people like me to correct you. Okay? And I have a style by which I deliver my videos. Absolutely. It's my shtick. It's for clicks. It works. It works its ass off, especially when your 12-year-old prepubescent supporters mass descend on my channel to tell me what a cunt I am and what a moran I am and what a baffon I am and how I don't know dick about fuck, even though actually my academic CV is above reproach, son. Okay? Dear oh dear.
Doing all this nonsense over the years. And so let me know in the comment section who's right and wrong about all these calories and heat and all this nonsense.
Yeah, but your supporters don't know dick about fuck, Greg. They don't know who's right and who's wrong. They think you are the high priest of correctness and I am some evil fuck. They are ignorant. They do not understand even what I've said. And how could they possibly, Greg, because you've misrepresented what I said. Hugely, vastly, grossly, in an unacceptable, cowardly fashion. You are a pathetic cunt. The law of cosmic compensation will pay you for what you have done here in kind. You will get exactly what you deserve for having misrepresented what I had to say in the way that you have done here. Part of that has started already by your mindless supporters behaving in such a way as that will only help my channel grow still more rapidly. Because they're so stupid. Precisely because they're so stupid, they have spent their whole day helping me grow, helping me expand my influence, helping me to get my videos pushed out by the YouTube algorithm to an ever wider audience. Thank you, Greg supporters. Please do keep it up. Good work, people. Anyway, enough. He's summing up so I can sum up too. Join me next time when someone else will be wrong on the interwebs. Oh, so very, very wrong. There really is a lot of that going on, isn't there? Anyway, see you then. We'll have some music to see us out, shall we? 2, 3, 4.